Hi there, everyone. Meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you on today, the 9th of October, 2013. And, sit down, strap in, and get ready for this Western Pacific weather update because it is going to be a fairly long one. We are still watching the remnants of Adonna's race across northern Japan. And then, we have Santi, soon to be called Nari. Santi is the Bagasa name, developing here just towards the east of the Philippines. That very well could skirt Manila. That's going to be a big topic here today. Wipha, farther off here towards the east, still a tropical depression, but that's the name it will be given. And then Phailin, developing in the Andaman Sea, moving over the Bay of Bengal off the screen here towards the left. We'll touch on that near the end of the update. But first, I want to talk about the remnants of Adonna still bringing some heavy rainfall across northern portions of Japan. Max wind gust recorded was actually down here towards Shimane Prefecture there in western Honshu. We saw winds gusting up to 144 kilometers per hour, and actually numerous wind gusts reported that high. Nagasaki, yesterday we were talking about that 126 kilometer per hour wind. So pretty intense stuff out here. Now, center of circulation is just skirting the coastline, but you can see the bulk of that convection, the bulk of the cloud cover has been sheared off towards the northeast, and that's really the main threat with this storm system now. It's going to be the heavy rainfall across northern portions of Honshu as our storm races off into that direction. Still some gusty winds right near the coastline, but nothing compared to the super typhoon-ish strength winds we were seeing just 48 hours ago across the southern Japanese islands. Also, some thunderstorms flaring up there across the Kii Peninsula. You have that southerly moisture flow hitting the mountains here. Tokyo could even see a passing shower or two going through the evening hours, but nothing too serious. And I'm going to touch on it just because of the questions I get. And I'm no nuclear physicist, so I don't touch on it very much. But Fukushima Daiichi, that is my biggest pet peeve when people just say Fukushima. Fukushima Prefecture, if you can see here on the lines, is actually this huge prefecture in Japan. Daiichi's right near the coastline. As far as the weather there, I haven't mentioned it because the storm system is nowhere near there. This is just some of the wind and rain reports from that area right near the power plant, and 0 millimeters of rainfall. Winds maxing out at 5 meters per second. I mean, that's 15 kilometers per hour. So, you're not getting the weather there. If you're in Tokyo, it's probably the same conditions that you're seeing there. So, please stop asking me if I think there is a very serious threat to it. I will mention. I think still, though, we're going to be seeing that main threat throughout Wednesday evening, the heavy rainfall across northern Honshu and Hokkaido. And then that storm's going to become extratropical and be a pretty intense storm system in the northern Pacific. But next up, tropical depression Santi, or, you can call it Nari at this time. JMA hasn't officially named it yet, but it really does look like it's going to continue to develop here. Bagasa has named it their naming system, moving it off here towards the west, making a landfall there around Isabela, southeastern Luzon. Seems like more often than not, this is the area of the Philippines that continuously gets hit by typhoons. We have already had one strong system push across this area this year. If you remember back, Utur came through the same area earlier on this season, caused deaths out here and a pretty significant damage to northern portions of Luzon. But also, we did see that enhancement of the monsoon, that rainfall across southern portions. In this scenario, the southwest monsoon has tapered off. So, as intensive rains, highly unlikely. But is the Manila area and the areas just south of that going to be seeing showers over the next several days? Highly, highly likely. I just don't see it as intense, but there is going to be some pretty heavy rain showers, but really kicking up here as we go ahead into Friday, and then by Saturday with the storm system coming on shore. And that's if it stays on this current track, because I think if it wavers even a little bit farther towards the south, Manila, you're really going to be getting the bulk of these winds. This is just showing the GFS model as of, let's actually loop this up here to 18 UTC model run. And you can see here going through Saturday, it moves just north of Manila, just north of Subic Bay, over central portions of Luzon. Still these winds coming out shore, and this would be tropical storm strength winds if this plays out going into the weekend, just being funneled through Manila Bay, pushing on shore. Cavite City sits out on that exposed peninsula there, and also Subic Bay farther there towards the north, Quezon. So yeah, that's going to be the main threat with that. But Baguio City farther off there towards the north, a lot of these areas inland, you're going to be getting some pretty intense winds as well as this does push overhead if this model does play out. Let's switch it up with the ECMWF for the same time of their model run. They have it a little bit weaker at landfall, but they often do that, but similar area. JTWC actually throws it a little bit farther towards the south, closer to Manila, and also expects it to become a typhoon. As I said, a strong tropical storm, weak typhoon is not completely rule out the question. I mean, all the conditions are in place, and right now we're seeing a pretty good circulation around. I mean, you can kind of see that southerly flow wrapping around it, and a lot of convection rate in there, a little bit of dry air on the northern periphery, but overall, it has a very clear low level circulation and good exhaust aloft. We have a lot of convection flowing into this, so it intensifying pretty rapidly, I think, is very well possible. And then it tracking across, well, central Luzon, really just north of Manila, I think is very well possible as well. And if that's the case, that very well could be worse than it tracking south through Visayas for Manila. Main reason is, yeah, you're still in the right front quadrant, but the winds would be coming off the South China Sea, vice coming off land. So something to keep an eye on. At this time, though, I do anticipate some very heavy rainfall near coastal areas along the eastern seaboard. Flooding, landslides are a very serious threat through the coming days. 50 millimeters an hour can be anticipated with this storm system. So with that said, yeah, let's continue to keep a very, very close eye on that. People out here in the Philippines, Luzon, central Luzon, down through Manila, and even Visayas, you're going to be seeing some rain showers out of this. You got to watch this one closely. Then we have Wipha developing here. Well, it's still a tropical depression, very weak at this time, and I'm only going to touch on it really quickly just because it does bring the threat for portions of Japan and also the Marianas Islands, because it doesn't look like it's going to be moving very fast. Now, at this time, it does look like our Nari or Santi is developing far enough away from this that the Fujiwara effect is going to be not in play here. We were thinking at first, if they developed closer, that they could start to pinwheel and pull each other north and away from the Philippines, but it doesn't look like that is going to be the case. The likely scenario, this is still going to track on its westerly projection. This, though, very well could track towards the northwest along the southwestern periphery of this high pressure. It depends on how slow it goes and how much troughing it affects it towards the north, if it does move towards the southern Japanese islands or just pulls off here towards open ocean, or moves into the Tokyo area. Now, like I said, though, it is still long range and it's still in Genesis, so it's still very uncertain. And this is just showing the GFS model, expecting to keep offshore our storm system. Santi here moving over the Philippines out towards the South China Sea, and also becoming a stronger storm beyond that and moving into Vietnam. That's something else possible by next week. But this one staying offshore. Navjam, a little bit of a different scenario. They actually expect it to move towards the southern Japanese island and switch up and run across central portion of Japan, being a big rainmaker by next week. So two different scenarios playing out there. Also on the screen here, though, I hope you noticed our other storm system in the Bay of Bengal. They're developed. That is our subtropical depression at this time. It's going to be called Phailin. Once it develops here, though, there is warnings in effect for the North Andaman Sea. Really minor damage to unsecured objects at this time. It's not a very intense storm system, but it does look like the forecast is going to carry this west towards India. And it truly does show a lot of signs, just like Santi/Nari out there towards the east of, well, development. A lot of convection on the southern periphery, dry air inflow along the northern periphery, but you can just see that overall low-level circulation is there. And the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, India doesn't have a track out on it yet, so I would be showing you that, but JTWC does have winds maxing out at like 85, gusting up to 105 knots right before landfall, so a pretty serious storm system coming on shore. But that is all for right now, everybody. Thanks for watching here at westernpacificweather.com. If you sat through all 9 minutes, please let me know what storm you sat for, so I can kind of prioritize it in my next video up. And I'll likely be putting that out later on tonight. But throughout the day today, we're going to be putting out text updates on all of these storms, at least the major ones and their impacts. So please stay tuned here at westernpacificweather.com for the latest. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.